Hello everyone. Welcome to Animation Retargeting today. Okay. If you're here, let me know in the chat and we will get started. Hey Funky Boy. Funky Boy is here. All right. Yeah, so today, actually before we move on to today's topic, I did want to share that we're having some issue with the nav mesh generation on a sloped terrain. And once this loads, and what it came down to, hey Ronald, what it came down to is I was able to get it to work eventually. I fiddled with it enough that it generated the mesh correctly. So hopefully this one that I'm loading will show the nav mesh fitting pretty well to the source mesh. But the dev team does think that it looks like it's a bug that was resolved already. So in the next version. So that should be much better in the next version. Otherwise, yeah, I was able to I tried all the repro steps with the new version, and it just worked. It was effortless. So that's something to look forward to. Otherwise, I guess you could poke it enough like I did to get it to give you that right generation. And then once I got it right, it was, it saves. So that was the nav mesh issue that we ran into last week. Now for animation retargeting. So the goal for today, and it may not take too long, we may not use the full time, is I'm going to take a Mixamo character. I'm going to use animation retargeting to prepare this character for omni.anim.people. And then I thought we could then set this character up with the omni.anim.people controller to verify that everything's working. So we should be able to go through some of those commands, those animations, and see the character walk, idle, sit, as we'd expect. So this is all about taking my custom character and ingesting it into omni.anim.people is my goal. As far as the MP3 to wave extension, I don't know if anybody else is working on it, so I think you're good. Okay, so I've already downloaded this character, and what I want to do now is you want to make sure you have the retargeting window here, animation retargeting. If you don't, you can enable it from the extension manager. I'm in Isaac Sim again, but this works just as well. This step works in create. So I'm looking for a retarget. So you'd enable the bundle, and that would give you everything. So we're going to use that window. And what I downloaded was an FBX, so I can import that. Yeah, collaborating on the extension would be a good idea. I don't know who else might be interested. It'd be worth asking on Discord. Okay, so here's my character, and I want to then bring in. So I have my destination mesh, my destination character, and then I need a source character that's going to be the one that the animations were authored with. So for the omni.anim.people, we were given that. If we go to localhost, NVIDIA, assets, Isaac, 2022-2, Isaac, people, characters. And if you remember from a couple weeks ago, this biped setup, so we can drag that in. Cool, so now that's a payload. And where is this character? So we got a little scale issue here, but not a problem. Okay. It's definitely in Create. I'm guessing it's in Machinima too. I didn't check that one. I did specifically check Create. Okay, so now we got the right scale. Generally, if you're off by a factor of 100, if this happens, just because it's generally centimeters to meters conversion. So that's all good. Now we have the animation retargeting window. I want to, before I go any further, I want to disconnect the biped is set up with the animation graph just to simplify this, get rid of one layer here. I'm going to disconnect the animation graph from this character. And instead, we're going to use a plain old animation source. So this is going to be, instead of having a state machine that drives which animation we're looking at, now it's just the walk, and we'll use that walk to compare everything. Cool. Next, we can go ahead and set up our character. So here is my skeleton. It automatically detects where my skeletons are in my scene, and it will try to auto set up. And so here you can see the joints that it detected and tried to map here. And maybe it did it right. Head, left hand, right hand. Those all look good, except for these. The thighs are not the arms. So we can get rid of those. Arms are correct. If you can show by type and show the skeleton. No, I suppose we want the shoulder. Oh, there is a shoulder joint here. So we would come over here, choose right shoulder, and left shoulder. And then if you wanted to, the more joints that you're able to map, the better the mapping will be. But if you really only need these 5 joints are the minimum. So you could also just cancel those out if you wanted to. So everything looks good. The facing direction is a little bit misleading, because this would be the up axis. This is it says up, and that would be forward, which is not what we're looking at here. But that's because this character comes in with a correction here. So I've generally trusted that the auto facing is doing the right thing. If I were to, if I were to undo these top level rotations, I'd be good. Yeah, the heel shoe will obviously be a little tricky here, but I think we'll be okay. So anything else that we need to do here? I don't think so. So let's go ahead and apply the animation on this character. And that's the Mixamo character is using this animation right now. We're going to swap it for. Also, keep in mind, I just brought in an FBX and it did the conversion well. So I think that's pretty cool. This animation is not going to play back yet. There's one piece that you just want to kind of ingrain in your head here is that you need to go to the source skeleton and the source animations and tell and explicitly tag these as which skeleton they were created with. So we can go to, so this is the one that I'm using, go to add, animation, skeletal binding. And now you can say this animation was made with this biped setup root. And now we've got some walking. So that's pretty good. Exactly. Animation retargeting is same animation, different characters. Let's hide this skeleton. And that looks nasty. Right? So what happened here? This one took me a little while to figure out. But you can see how things are getting stretched down to the ground. And I should point out here, animation retargeting documentation. We like this. All right. Like almost by default now, I've trained myself that if I'm using something in Omniverse, read the documentation page and look for something that says like troubleshooting or limitations. I feel like that always has the answer. So I would start tips and limitations. I would start there. Read over it once just to get an idea of what's going to happen. So there is this tip and limitation. Strongly recommended. All of your characters, including animation source characters, are set up with a root joint. The joint is directly under the hips or pelvis and on the ground plane. So, hey, we're getting better with documentation. It's growing. The thing is, we develop so fast. Like, so the documentation can trail a little bit. But we're more on top of that lately. Because this is still, we're still talking about beta tech here, right? All of these extensions are marked with a beta label. So, so this is the issue is if we go back to here and we view this character, stop the animation, view this character in the bind pose, and I want to look at the skeleton again. And then I reset. You can see here, this one does not have a root joint at the object origin, at the asset origin. Its root joint is the hip joint. So that's what we saw it there when we played this animation, and then I put this back into, no, now it's not going to do it. But if I look at the joints here, you can see that hip joint is getting stretched, and that's throwing everything off. Does this it doesn't have collision set up yet. You could set that up. So how do we fix this? We got to fix this in a DCC. So I am going to fix this. I'm going to fix this in Blender. Now, yes, I showed you the wrong way to do this, but I feel like hopefully you won't forget it. This is how I learn, is when I do something horribly wrong, it sticks with me. So root joint. Come over here, import our FBX. It's a Blender, the free Swiss Army knife of 3D. I started out in Maya, but I get tired of asking for licenses when I don't use it enough, that I've just started learning Blender. All right, so let's look at the wireframe. And all we need to do is, here is our armature. Here is that first bone. And we need to go into edit mode. There's the first bone. There's a second. So we need to drop the bone down here. We can add a single bone. And that's pretty much lined up there. It shouldn't matter too much because we're not going to be rotating on that, but we can line it up. Nor is it at all bound to the mesh. What am I doing here? Tail. Nope, not that one. This one. Right. And then we just need to parent it. So you click the child that you want to parent to, and then Control P, keep offset. And now we've got the whole hierarchy nested under this new root. So not that I am totally in love with this naming scheme, but we'll just keep it because everything else is named the same. So there's our Mixamo Rig 11 root. Now we could say this back out as FBX, or we can use the Omniverse plugin to export as USD. And that works just fine. One day I will clean up my downloads folder, but for now, you just gotta make sure you've got armatures checked on. I'm gonna check on blend shapes too. I don't think this has any, but just because I'm working on a character and to never make a mistake here, I'll do both. And this is, we'll call her woman A now. Cool. Anything else here? All right. Export. It's doing it. It's done. And we can go back to Isaac Sim. And now I'm going to start over. And this time I'm going to open this asset. What did we call her? We called her Woman A. All right. I wanted to do this instead of a reference. I want to do a proper. I wanted to open this stage so that I can set this character up as an asset. This is one self-contained file with all the retargeting information in it, and then I can reference it all together wherever I need it. So I'm going to get rid of the lights. And I guess I can... This is just for me. Don't worry about me. I'm going to add a transform. I'm going to... I wanted to set the default prim, but now I've forgotten. Clear default prim. I'm just trying to set up an environment. I suppose now we have an easier way to do this. We can just do... No, now I don't have the default prim anymore. I think we can just do this and it'll bring it in. Yeah, I mean, that's sufficient. I don't need an environment in here as long as I have some lighting. All right, and then materials are all set up. Wonderful. And now we can redo this this setup. So this is not correct, is it? Where's my other bone? Because I didn't exit edit mode. Let's do this one more time. No, don't use that one. Never use that one. Use this one. This one's the good one. Did I press? I pressed import. I meant export. And here we go. After all that, I have to reset this up. I suppose I could have just reopened the stage. There it is. Look at that bone. All right. There we go. And get rid of the lights. Now we got a root. And now we can bring in that biped. So if I go back, it'll bring me back to a previous folder. And now we can payload this one. And now you can see that the using the export from Blender actually fixed the scale for me. And now these are going to be not lined up for now, and that's okay. Now we got to reset up this character. So this is where I kind of wish this was already set up for me. Or maybe I would save out a copy of this with my retargeting setup. But I need to do these bits again, right? Set up the animation just so that I can preview them at the same time. Is she already retargeting? And no, just kidding. And then get rid of this animation graph. And just so I don't forget later, set up the binding on this character animation. Add animation binding and that one. Cool. Now we can move on to the character we actually want to retarget and do a better job of naming. So now you can see this is actually, so this has already done the auto setup. This is looking much better, and that's because there is no additional transformation on or rotation on the root of this asset. So so that's good. A little more consistent here. And then let's review these again. Left, right, shoulder. These were wrong, right? So we want right shoulder. And then we want left shoulder. And then these are correct. And now let's apply the animation on her. Not there, here. I think this is the, nope, that's not the one. This one. Add animation, skeletal animation. There's a little bug here. This could have refreshed for me, but if I just change the selection, I can refresh it. And there we go. No, what happened to her arms? They're in the middle. And this may just be because of the shoulders are a bit broader. I think yesterday, without knowing, I was actually using the arms for this. Right. And that's probably why it identified those automatically. The auto setup is better than me. I need to stop this and potentially view. There we go. Add a rest position. So I'm using the default T-pose. I can try. I think this looks fairly good because these are more like collarbones anyways. I think based off of how we're trying to match these. See how these are the collarbones on this one? Clavicle, my bad. The arms are rotating off of frame 1. Okay, so I got the arm flipping, that was my bad. And we got I fixed the bones going through the body with my fix. But if y'all have a better fix for this, let me know. T-pose to N pose, done twice. I don't know what that means. So are you saying I should match the retarget pose? So if you have a better solution for me, let me know. Otherwise, I think we're good to at least it should be sufficient for the goal of getting this integrated into omni.anim.people. And then we can always come back, right? Like that's the beauty of referencing is I can come back, fix the retargeting, and we can reuse it. No, the rest position is T-pose. That's the stored, or at least that's the bind. That's the position that we're using for the for the retargeting. And if I reset, oh, actually it loosened up a little bit. But the arms crossing that I did, I can set this back to the moment where the arms crossed is because I flipped the red and the right and the left. I thought I can set this back to shoulder and see. Yeah, that's where the arms drop there because of they're not flipped there. Oops. Because we're lining up the shoulders to the clavicles, I think. But I'm happy to be corrected. Oh, she's walking all janky now. That reset that I did gave her a bit of a wider stance. All right, we'll come back to this. This is sufficient for what I want to show. Cool. So we can save her everything. This little star here means that we haven't saved our scene, basically. So we can get rid of this biped setup and save her. Cool. So now you can see that star disappeared there. So the retargeting is all saved up. Kind of just want to save it in the T-pose. All right. Everything is good there. And now let's go through the omni.anim.people workflow. This will be good review. So new stage. I'm going to do the Gray Studio. Create a ground plane. I think we needed to reference this in here as well. And I'm going to close Blender. We shouldn't need it anymore. Blah, 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 blah. We need to select the skull root and add the people script. First I need to bring in my custom character. Woman A. Is the scale? Yeah, scale's going to be different because of the scene that I started in, I think. Yeah. And that'll be fine. And then we need to select the skull root, I believe. Add. I am blanking here. No, we need to add a Python scripting asset to it. On the root, right? You want it on the skull root. You got it. Okay. And then this is going to go to over here. We can dock that one. Okay, so then it just navigated me to the omni.anim.people extension. Go to scripts, and we need the character behavior. Got it. All right. And then command file path, we'll get there. All right, we should do the navigation stuff. Window, navigation, create, navigation, nav mesh volume. Make sure that's big enough. That's not going to be big enough because of the scale difference that I had here. Actually, I don't know what the scale is. There we go. That should be reasonable. And got the nav mesh volume. It didn't auto-generate yet, so we'll look at that. And we gotta do that. Okay. Nav mesh. Nav mesh window. The height is too tall. And the radius needs to be, what is this? This is the agent radius. Oh, and this is the agent height. There we go. There we go. I've already got the nav mesh there. Sweet. Okay. And then we just need to give it the commands. So where is the behavior control panel? I think I still have my file from last week. Yeah, people commands, or from 2 weeks ago. And let's open that up to see what that has. Okay, so we just got to rename our character here. This is probably going to be terrible renaming because I think it wants the skull root name, which is, I should have renamed earlier. But let's just make sure here. Yeah, so it wants the skull root name. That's okay. We can use that for now. We won't do any queuing today, but I will do, we try some sitting after. But let's see what happens. Nope. What did I miss? I think I need to add the animation graph at some point. So here is scale root. I'm using that. Make sure I didn't miss any steps. Yeah, I forgot to add the animation graph on the scale root. Okay. No, where are you going? All right. How did I mess that up? Is it this initial rotation? Oh, why is there a rotation on the armature itself? That should have been on here. I was just making sure you all are still paying attention. I feel like I'm not supposed to have a 90-degree rotation on the armature. Well, where was it? On the scale root. That seems like a bad idea. Well, let's put it on a parent node here. This is all just trying to correct orientation issues from different DCCs, right? Transform up, rotate 90. And while we're at it, let's have them face the same direction too. No, she really wants to go that way. So close. Let's, as a sanity check, make sure this guy wants to do the right thing. So that's my XYZ, that's my armature. That looks correct. I actually don't know if I can give commands to the biped setup. It's like a Michael Jackson dance move. Let's go back. I don't know why I keep closing that text file. Okay. And that's so weird. I don't even know what that motion is. And then she can't quite get on the point. My Z is correct, so I do have, I think a lot of my issues are coming from just this initial stage or the rotation on the character. What does she do without anything? Still kind of doing that little orbit. It's because her feet are in the floor. They're aligned with oh, you think maybe she's too low? I guess we should so as a sanity check, we should set up another of the default characters, make sure we're not doing anything wrong here. So let's go back. And we will use this one. Cool. A doctor. The doctor will help us. He's actually facing the same way as my character. But let's see if I can do this without looking at the docs. Scale root, add anim graph, add scripting component, add character behavior, and once again I've closed my text file. And this one is going to be called Did y'all see me click close? Because I didn't even notice. Oh, it's here. I have like 10 of them. That's why. There they are. All right, now I've actually closed when I didn't intend to. All right, so here we go. This guy's doing the right thing, though he's not walking. Did I miss any step here for him? I'm gonna make sure that point's valid. I just assumed. Was that 2.6 to -2? Yeah. So that would be over here. So what did I forget here? He's got this animation source, but I don't think that should matter. The other thing I want to make sure, this would be a silly bug, but the skull root and the skeleton are both named armature. Can't rename ancestral prim, so I have to reopen this to rename it. All right, let's save this. This is going to be my open woman A. We're going to rename this to it's not a great name, but it's okay. It's better. All right. And let's set up the rotation the way that I thought it should work. which is it should be fine to put a rotation on that top, on that parent X form. Nope. Yeah, I am out of ideas. Also, I don't know why this character's not working. Check the docs, make sure I didn't miss a step. So look at that. That's a bug. So if the root is named exactly the same as the, or maybe if there's another prim with the same name as the skull root. No, now it's working. Interesting. That guy's happy. And now if I bring in if I add a reference to see, at least it's not always me. It's only sometimes me. It's most often me, though. That breaks things. All right. Let's do the setup one more time on her. I don't like that rotation there, but let's leave it and see what happens. In fact, I'm going to do this before I do any setup. Okay. Now, yeah, look at that. It's got the corrections on the armature itself. No, I don't know where she went. Did I go the wrong way? This is going to break stuff for sure. So okay. Weird. Okay, back to the skull root. Add animation graph. Add Python scripting. Add. This is where I lost my position, but we can get back there easily. Do I have to keep scaling down? The issue is that when I started this scene, the stage units was different from the one that I set up the character with. So that's all me trying to be to fix my mistakes, and maybe that could be a main issue. Is that if I had just kept everything in the same units all across the board, maybe that would have helped. But this is weird, right? It's seems more than that. But if this doesn't work, I will try that. Because at least our sanity check worked, right? All right, I didn't give her any commands, but still it's doing that rotation. So that's where the issue is occurring, right? Is that animation is getting applied on top of the walk animation. So when I give her that walk command, we get both motions at the same time. It's not called is it? It is called armature, but why didn't it use it? Using that behavior script, to using my people commands. So if I don't do anything, if I get rid of that command, what does it do? Assuming I put everything on the right place. Scaleroot has a script. Scaleroot has the animation graph. So yeah, that command should have worked, or at least I thought it would give me both motions. It's fun to watch though. All right, let's clean this up. Unfortunately, it'll be quite a bit of rework here. So if we open up woman A, she's set up to centimeters, which means that if I create a cube, that's technically the wrong scale for her. Because this cube is 1 meter. So if we fix, and she's already got a scale of, oh no, it's because it's applying this to the cube as well. Right, so that's about 2 meters. So I do have that corrective on this prim here. So when I come over here and I create new, this is turned into an exercise of units. We make that centimeters to match. I'm not going to worry about kilograms per unit. Maybe it'll be a mistake later. But save as. All right, so now when I reference her, where am I? Downloads. Now when I reference her, there she is. And if I create a cube here, this is a meter and everything matches up. So now theoretically, if I bring in I want to check here before I go any further. She has no rotations there. I wonder if it applied the corrective. Did that? Save that for a moment. Did it apply the correctives on the first transform that it found? And this is Z up, whereas this one is also Z up, so that should be fine. So this armature just had 90 in it from the beginning. Interesting. And that would mess up all my retargeting probably. Or does the retargeting put that in? Let's take a step back. Unfortunately, I saved the Blender one. I saved over the Blender one, so I wouldn't be able to see what that looks like without the changes. Okay, let's go back to omni. Biped setup, and so that's her forward. If I change this to 0, I'm just trying to get this biped out of the same X form as her. Okay. And that way I can add the rotation into her root. Cool. So everything looks good there. And I suppose we should put that back to 1. Set that back to 1. That's looking a little bit better. And then let's do our retargeting one more time on her just to see what we get. All right, well, she's animating. This is using, I think that's probably the same rig. So I think that's a good enough check there to make sure everything's working. I'm going to set this back as the default prim. Delete the rest of this. Let's try V2. I wonder if I need those. All right, and then we can come back over to do the rework, right? That one has the matching scale and all that. And we'll start from the beginning here. create nav mesh volume, beautiful. We are going to change the height on this. Her height is 2 units, I guess. Is that correct? No, it'd be 200 units. I wonder if that was the issue. Well, now we'll know for sure because I know we're in the right units. We're in centimeters. Okay. Then biped. And then this guy's tiny. I'm not even gonna mess with that. What is this room? Did I not reference her in? I need to reference the other one anyways. Woman A, V2. There we go. And then add the bits. Components, not bits. Add Python scripting. From there. No, she's doing it again. I know I haven't set this up yet, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. And if I scale this guy up to be the right size, I don't think that's going to matter. There was some comments about alignment, but I don't think that's with the ground plane and things like that, but I don't think that's it. All right, I think we're going to have to call it here. We're close. I can feel it, but check my commands. Well, we can add her in here. What if, wouldn't it be silly if I had some time sample animation on this? Just gonna open this up in a text editor and just see if I get any hints here. So that looks about right. Yeah, everything looks right here. And I'm sure the woman A rework file. Oh wait, is this referencing the wrong one? I added a sublayer. Why do I have? a woman A sublayer in there. That was part of my mistake, but I deleted everything from it, so it's not contributing anything. Shouldn't be. It's not, that's the blue dot means that it's a different value from the default. So that wasn't it. And just as a sanity again, open up this one. And let's look at this code here. Don't care about materials. That's all the meshes. I guess I can close them one by one. There aren't that many. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask about this, but those are the bind transforms. Blah, blah, blah. And that's the hierarchy. And I think these are probably safe to delete once I'm done with them. All right. I will ask, and we will hopefully be able to just get this last verification next week. Next week we'll try to add a new animations to the system. All right. Any questions that maybe I can answer? Don't ask me why it's not working. So at least we got the retarget working. I think I'm pretty good, feel pretty good about that. The only thing that we'll check on is the shoulder joints. I'll get an opinion on that, and then we'll figure out what's going on with the omni.anim people. No, why did you ask that, VM? That's rude. All right. Thanks everybody for coming, and hopefully next week we'll be able to make a little bit more progress here. Cool. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.